Hello, hi. No, that's not good. Hey, welcome everybody to another glorious episode of Jeff Has Cool Friends. I'm Jeff of Having Cool Friends fame, and with me I've got a cool friend of Knowing Jeff fame on an unprecedented episode, an episode I've never done before. So the first thing I'm going to say is we're welcoming back Dr. Susan Finkbeiner. Hey, Doc.
Yay.
Um,
Hello.
I've never done the same guest back to back ever.
Oh,
And this isn't a split recording where we recorded and then whatever. But there's a couple of things that happened. First and foremost, I had a very, very great guest lined up who got sucked into the Hollywood machine of having to work. And so like all the scheduling was like, and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I got to figure it out. But here's what hit me, okay? I was like, I'm not done with you. I wasn't done with you. We had a short kind of time period and
right.
didn't really get to cover a lot, but I'm going to read some comments from the Patreon.
Okay.
And this
Can
is
I
what
just,
ins
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say, I want to inform everyone that we are slightly delayed. I'm slightly delayed meeting Jeff because I wanted a snack. I made avocado toast. No, I did not cut my finger off. I use the same knife though. And you see there's like remnants of avocado on my plate
Okay,
here.
yeah.
And then it reminded me of this time that I got completely sliced open by a stingray when I was surfing not too far from where I live now. We just have to get to that at some point during during this episode,
The
because I
Stingray
want to.
story, because we kind of just did.
Wait, did we talk about the stingrays last time?
No.
No,
That's
we
why I
didn't.
have you back on because
Oh,
the thing is
okay.
like that was a full episode length that was about a half an episode because there's
That's
so
true.
much more I wanted to do. And oftentimes when it comes to guests, I usually wait like at least a year before I have them back on for various
Oh,
reasons.
like the day after you posted our episode, you're like, we have to do another one. This
Yeah.
is happening.
Well,
So just full disclosure for everyone listening, this is 2 weeks to the day from when we last recorded. Yeah,
right, right. Since that we've had dinner together since then, right? I ended
that's
up
right.
driving down
Yes.
to Long Beach and we had a nice little dinner. But here's what I'm going to read you some comments, and these were kind of also the inspiration. So I need you guys to know that are listening on the Patreon, patreon.com/Jeff May, that I listen to things. So here we go. The first one we got, and it was not 2 weeks, it was actually 3 weeks ago upon recording that we did this.
It was 3 weeks. Oh, okay.
So Idi Amin's one man accordion band's greatest hits said, "This is easily within my top three favorite episodes, and you've never had a bad one. I'm so in awe of this human. She sounds like a character in a children's story." Smiley face emoji. Actually, that should be done. She could teach about biology, parentheses, parts of your hand knives can go through, or what happens to your nose when it breaks, entomology, and even physics, surfboards in your face, what not to do, even teach about self-confidence. And then he said we could get our good friend John Hedman to illustrate. Our good friend Oliver Allen said this was unexpectedly the most bloody episode so far, and I love that.
All
Um,
right, I'm gonna be laughing.
Chris Whitfield said the avocado convo and then cry face emoji. And then our good friend Joe Dude said, as soon as I heard Lepidopterist, I was instantly transported to 1995 as a freshman and getting really into entomology. I really dug hearing from this cool friend. I don't know, dude. Everest, though, the thought of climbing more than two flights of stairs makes my bones hurt. From there, while I was coming back from a wedding last week and I started to start get the scheduling problems, like literally as I'm driving home, down the coast from San Luis Obispo. Which shout out to Louis Campo, who's on here, who I ended up having breakfast with while I was there. But so I was asking, I did this thing, hey man, I was like, basically, what do you guys want me to do? I know my scheduling has hit snags in 2025. I can find a replacement. I'm more prepped for this guy, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was just like, dude, just, delay if you have to, do what you got to do. And then Jason Bauer, like, pretty much like right away was just like, it was like, hey, I'm a little late to the party because it was like the next day. He goes, delay away. I'll listen to the Dr. Susan episode again. That show rocked.
Oh,
So you have gone down in the pantheon as sort of like the people just really want to hear more from you. I want to hear more from you. I always do. So why don't I just blackmail you into doing another episode? So this is like a sequel to the last episode.
We can keep doing them as long as listeners want to hear until every secret of mine is spilled. Like, I don't need, no, okay, not that much, but
Are you sure you don't want to do every secret? We could start talking like weird dating histories. I mean, we can go wherever you want with that.
if I if you start paying me, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. The
Wow, how dare
listeners
you
are
expect me
paying
to be ethical?
you.
Yeah.
No,
You know,
I'm just kidding.
it is very funny though
Oh,
too that like
dating history off limits. Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Things might come up here and there. I told you, I was on a date, surfing date, right when I broke my nose, and there was, I think I mentioned something about another date, or yeah, when I caught a bug on a date and I was playing with it. Wait, no, we didn't talk about that.
We didn't talk
Anyways,
about that. Talk about it.
talk about it. Well,
Yeah,
which
talk about it.
date? Because that's really it's
Where you
even
caught a
more
bug and you
funny.
played with it? Was that multiple
Yeah,
dates?
that has been absolutely more than one date. Absolutely. Especially when it's a really cool bug, like a giant praying mantis. I caught one once. I was in Boston, actually. You know that I lived there. I did my first postdoc as a research associate at Boston University. On a date, walking down, what's the street with a T by the main park? Tremont?
Tremont
No,
Street?
that's right. Tremont. I think it is Tremont Street. Yeah. Anyways, a massive praying mantis came by flying right in front of me. I was so freaking excited. Actually, I think I talked about this in your old sideshow podcast. And I have these reflexes like a ninja. And I grabbed it with my hand out of the air because that's what entomologists do, and it's this gorgeous, beautiful oriental mantis. And I was showing it to the guys with. I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this!" He was flipping out, like terrified of it. I was like, "Do you want to hold it?"
He was
Like,
terrified flipping out. I would have been like dudes just being like, "Oh,
well, it came out of nowhere, right? It's not like we were walking and there was a bug crawling on the ground that I picked up. That's usually what happens.
Mhm.
But occasionally I'll grab an insect out of the air because it's, again, reflex for me. And I'm like, oh my God, cool bug. I have to have it. And so I just grabbed it. I was all dressed up in a cute outfit, had some heels on, and I grab a giant insect out of the sky and I start, handling it, right? And showing them like, ooh, look at the hind wings. And when they do an aggressive display, this is what they show. And it kind of pinched me a little bit, but I wasn't like scared of it or anything. And obviously not, right. I've been playing with bugs since I was 3. And he and I are friends. He's since been married. It didn't work out between us because it was a long distance thing. And we had met in Egypt, of all places. We met in Cairo, and he was
more
from Canada.
scarab based."
Yeah, more scare based. There you go. But he grew up not too far from Boston. I should try to remember that. Maybe I want to say
Yeah.
Stores. That's
What
Connecticut
town?
though. I think there's somewhere where there's a university. Is there a university in Stores?
Stores
Connecticut?
in Connecticut, Yukon. Yeah, stores. Yes, Yukon.
I think yes.
Stores
Okay, I
Manchester.
feel like I should know this. I think that's where he's from. But that's like, is that far from Boston?
That's actually really close to where I'm from.
Oh, okay. Well, shout out Paul. That's his name. We're still friends now. But he has since told me, and this was like a decade ago. He's like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen someone randomly do while we're walking on the street. I'm like, really? Because I do this on a regular. So I go down in history in people's minds as the weird bug nerd that picks up everything that she can find. Add alcohol into the mix, and then I get extra excited about things, especially dangerous things. So, is what
We
it
were,
is.
we were outside kids, and one of the things I remember being very strange is like we were taught to check for ticks.
Hmm.
And so like we're real, if you saw a tick, you made sure you picked it and made sure you knew how to do that, right? And I remember being in, it was like fourth grade or something, and like somebody found a tick on them and they like freaked out. And I was just like, and I just took it and I just walked into the bathroom and flushed it because,
Yeah.
you know, and everyone looked at me like I was like a combination, like a disgusting hero, like the Toxic Avenger or something like
Like
that. Like
some sort of weird freak, but in a good way,
they were like,
like a
Jeff's
hero freak.
gross, but also, you know, it is what it is.
Helpful.
Glutathione.
That's funny because my first experience with ticks was in Canada on these youth group trips that we would go on. And that was my first experience with leeches and ticks. And for the leeches, we were kind of bad. We would put salt on them, but that gets them off of you, right?
Yeah,
And then for the ticks, I know you can like pull them out, but for some reason, everyone thought it was funny to put a lighter to the tick
that's a good
and
way
then
to
have it
have it
explode.
vomit or leave its head in your body, or to like vomit out what it's been sucking back. That's a good
I
way
don't,
to get Lyme disease. I mean, you'd only get Lyme
yeah,
disease
Lyme
from
wasn't carried
yeah,
there, but
you'd get a deer
it's a
tick.
good
Yeah.
way to get an infection. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the correct thing to do is to put alcohol on a cotton ball or cotton swab and put it right over the head,
Yeah, they hate
because
that.
then they have to can't breathe, so they basically have to pull themselves back out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
Yeah.
just I'm from tick country, I guess. So like I was just used to it, just wood ticks generally speaking. And people used to get grossed out. I'm not saying like I'm like a big stud around bugs. I wasn't really a bug guy, but ticks never bothered me.
They
So
never bothered me until, and I know you know this, I developed an allergy to mammal meat because of a tick bite.
yeah, you
So
actually kind of like brought that up cursorily on the last episode.
yeah, I guess I could mention a little bit more about that if people had questions. So it's called the alpha-gal syndrome, ALPHA-GAL. You could also Google tick bite meat allergy. And unfortunately, it's this growing, phenomenon, I guess if you want to call it that, in the US and all around the world, where these tick bites, it's a bite from the Lone Star tick or another tick in that genus. The genus is Amblyomma, and it creates, well, basically what happens is when you're bit by a tick, your body generates antibodies to the tick bite saliva, right? Your immune system's reacting to the fact that you have a tick bite. I know I didn't want to turn this into like an educational episode, but
No,
um
yeah, people hate learning on podcasts.
but the basically your tick bite antibodies bind to a carbohydrate called alpha-1,3 galactose, which is present in mammal meat. So it's not a protein, it's a carbohydrate, but it's
Yeah, I was
present in
gonna
all
say it's a
mammal meat.
sugar, right? That's what the os means.
Hmm. And basically, when that happens, it creates this histamine release of histamine or immune reaction. And I've had symptoms everywhere from like GI stuff to face swelling, tongue swelling, full body hives. I mean, dangerous situations that I've had myself, and even, having a reaction on the flight. And what makes it the most dangerous is there's a delayed reaction. So, A, you don't know when you're consuming something that might accidentally have those products in it. So for example, something made with pork lard, like refried beans,
Yeah, or beef
that
tallow or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, something that has been cooked in or with beef or pork or lamb, any mammals, right? Probably whales included. Not that I plan on eating whales, but it was an option when I was in Iceland. I was like, nope.
What
Oh,
are they? Is it pilot whale that they eat there? What's the?
oh, I don't remember. They do eat puffin, which was kind of sad. And then they eat these like rotten shark fins. So
I don't really
it's like a
see like why
delicacy.
eating puffin is significantly worse than eating a different bird.
That's true. I mean, I guess it's almost like eating
Pretty
penguin or
privileged.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't try it though. I was sad. Even though I can't eat birds, I tell people if it lays an egg, I can eat it. They still don't understand that sometimes. But yeah, since it's a delayed
I'd
reaction,
eat
you
a
got to be
puffin.
careful though.
I'd eat a
Is it,
puffin.
you'd eat a puffin? You'd try
Yeah,
a puffin out?
yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Maybe next time I'll go.
Start eating more cute animals. They've had it too good for too long. The cute animals. Like, remember when they started like working on like making horse meat legal to be eaten? Everyone got so like shocked and like bent out of shape. And I'm like, but wait, you're cool with cows? Like they live
Yeah,
in the
very
same
similar.
fields,
It's like
like
I mean, in calves, right? Look at the little lambs and the little lamb and sheep. Like they're cute. Oh my God, lamb tastes amazing. I haven't had it in a decade since, 'cause that's how long I've had this allergy. 12 years actually. I miss a good gyro. Not
how
gonna
can
lie.
how can you like is there any way to combat this allergy, or is it just a thing you're gonna have forever?
So it is supposed to go away over time, and I do get my blood test to see my IgE levels, which is basically measures your sensitivity to this allergen,
Mm.
and it has gone down. If I get COVID or if I've had a stressful time period, that sensitivity goes up. Obviously, if I get another tick bite, regardless actually of what type of tick bites me, then the sensitivity goes back up too. But honestly, I've been doing like chicken alternatives with everything, or like beef alternatives using chicken, like turkey,
Oh yeah,
pepperoni,
that's
and
yeah, I
chicken
guess.
sausage and poultry. I like fish a lot, so I do eat a lot of fish.
You haven't really done red meat in like a decade?
13 years,
Wow.
12 years. And this was July 2013. So yeah, 12 years.
I did a year without red meat, and
A
it was
year.
fine. It was fine. But
It
then,
took
like,
me years to adjust.
you know
Like
what?
no ham and cheese. Like no, it's
I'm
the
fine with
small
that.
things, like
I
no
don't eat ham
bacon.
normally.
Holidays, I don't know. When I have like go back home for our family holidays, they have this like beautiful honey ham with the little pineapples on top, and I get they give me like a turkey ham or something, like little baby one. I'm like, I don't want this, but I'll eat it. I mean, it's like
I like
it's all salt.
I prefer turkey to ham anyway, so
Really,
yeah,
your
yeah. We
listeners
were
are going to be
always
upset.
like we weren't really, I mean, my mom would make ham every once in a while, but for the most part, for like holidays and stuff, it was mostly like the Thanksgiving meal was also the Christmas meal. It was the
I
same
got it. Yeah,
same menu.
turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
do have
that's
to say, I was going to say for bacon alternatives, duck bacon is the best, but they
I would
don't make
think
too
so.
much of it anymore. Yeah, it's a fatty,
Yeah, I was
fatty
gonna
bird.
say it's because it's a high fat content, and
Hmm.
there's a restaurant in Portland, Maine called Duck Fat. Basically, it's just like everything there is cooked in duck fat, and
Amazing.
the French fries are like really unbelievable. I mean, I'm assuming it's
uh,
still there.
I'm gonna find this place. Yeah, duck fat. Okay,
You ever been to
on my
Portland?
radar. I have.
Yeah,
I think twice, two, three times in my adult life. Yeah,
I
I just remember voodoo donuts. That was like a thing. Now it's everywhere.
oh, that's Portland, Oregon.
I have, but if I talk to you about that experience, then I will bring up another ex-boyfriend that I'd rather not talk
You don't want
about.
to bring it up. You want to bring? Do you want to use them as like a placeholder? Like you can just be like, I
I
was
mean,
dating
like,
a robot, and the robot said you could do that if you have an interesting story about Portland, Maine. But also, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable talking about anything. So
nah, actually, the extent of me being in Portland, Maine was me with an ex taking the train up to somewhere else in Maine. I can't remember. There's another university there.
it could have been
There's to the B.
the university. You were going to
I think so.
Bates, probably. So were you going to Lewiston, Auburn, Fort Kent, Augusta, Farmington,
I'm looking up.
Machias?
There's a the train that goes up that way stops, it passes Portland and then it goes there. I have no idea why
Well,
the
now
heck
I'm
I
like
can't think of.
super interested to figure out what, because the big school up there is Bates. Like that's the one that's like the probably the school that would relate itself more to your space. But also it
Okay.
might just be
Wow, my internet connection really effing sucks. I have a friend that's a professor there now. And like if I look up her, okay. So while I'm looking this up, I'll explain. So he and I was in love with him, whatever, as
yeah,
as I should
that
be.
happens with dating.
Um
Yeah.
and I was what, 29 at the time, and we wanted to do this sort of romantic weekend up in Maine from Boston, took the train up and it was lovely, but it was like, very, very cold. This was January,
Oof.
and Brunswick, is that what it's called?
Oh, Brunswick, Maine. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yes, that's either that's the town or the university. Anyways, he had told me just like, and I think I talked to you about being heartbroken about this guy, and he's like, I think I'm gonna marry you someday. I love you and all this stuff. And so we had spent a lot of time together. I went to the field down at the Ecuadorian Amazon
Yeah.
for a few weeks, and I came back and he dumped, okay, a few weeks, a month. I came back, he dumped me because he met someone else while I was gone. So
Thank God that he's
after
gone.
that,
That robot.
yeah,
Um,
that robot.
I will say,
Yeah, it's something about Brunswick though.
I
That's
will
where
say
we
that
went.
Brunswick is like technically considered roughly a part of Lewiston, Auburn. So I'm guessing the college was
Oh,
most likely Bates or
okay. That might be it. Your listeners are probably like, what kind
no,
of
we're
a
just
freaking
figuring we're
tangent
getting there.
is this?
No, but that's
Dun-
oh Bowdoin could have been Bowdoin as well.
Oh, Bodo in college. Yes, that's it. And also, get this, that is where the producer for PBS that was down in Ecuador filming with me, that's where she went to school. And it's just so funny. I was like, I was just there. I'd never really like explored Maine. And wow, I have such ADD right now. I'm somewhere on the spectrum. But anyways, it's like, oh yeah, friends. How funny. Bodo in college. She went there. I met her. And at the same time, the guy I was hanging out Bodo in college with jumped me. But anyways,
I think
all
they
good.
just say Bowden, by the way.
Bowden.
Yeah.
Did you say that earlier? I don't know.
I mean, I pronounced it that way, but I think that's how it's pronounced. That's how I've always,
Oh,
but it might
okay.
be New England accent, how they always said it there.
Oh
Like,
yeah, like you say
like how
Worcester instead of like Worcester.
it's Worcester. But it's like I knew people, and I think even Louis C.K. has a joke about this, but I know people whose last name is Doherty,
Yeah,
and they go by like Dar,
Darty, Darty, Dart. Oh,
and it's
okay.
like,
That's some Irish.
no, that's not how you say it. Doherty. Yeah, I used to go to Portland because Portland was like halfway between home and my college, Farmington, Maine, and which I went to for 2.5, 3 years, roughly. And I got my first tattoo in Portland. There's this area called the Old Port in Portland, Maine, that's basically like old cobblestone roads, kind of narrow space. It's like a walking area, really. We used to go there and we would get an outside table in like the when people started to get really springy. We'd get
Hmm.
a table outside at a restaurant. We'd stay there the whole day, and we would just watch people in heels eating on the cobblestone streets the whole time. Like that was just the best kind of people watching for us was just watching idiots fall over because they realized that there was going to be just cobblestones everywhere.
That's funny.
Yeah, we
I
have.
mean, there's an art to it. You don't put weight on your heels, but that is what it is. Just my Midwest accent slipped out. Don't don't put weight on your heels.
How
What did I say?
many do you know roughly how many countries you've traveled to?
I counted maybe a year ago. It's like somewhere around 50, upper 40s.
50. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, is this mostly for work or study?
Work is a lot of the same places over and over again, but I have gotten a few like novel countries for conferences.
Okay. Like what
Yeah.
kind of
I guess I am well traveled. Yeah, I
yeah, I mean,
suppose.
I've been to two countries. One of them is
Oh,
here. So,
another is Canada.
yes. Yeah,
I
we
didn't
used
mean
to
to
go to
tease you.
Canada when we were between the ages of 18 and 21. You would go to Montreal.
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 Oh, I said it wrong. I don't know French.
I used to get my friends would like basically cover my trip and I would just because I spoke remedial French and was a fighter at the time. So people would
Just
just
reminds me of like those reels with like croissant, croissant for croissant. You know what I'm talking about?
croissant,
Croissant,
croissant. Yeah,
croissant.
but I would just get brought in to prevent fights mostly.
Oh, okay. That's right. Noted. You are my bodyguard if I ever need one.
I mean, I'm getting old. I don't know if I can do bodyguard.
No. Oh, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like you look like you could beat someone's ass. Like I know I want to say quietly because I don't like cursing in public, but you could destroy someone.
You're
Whether or
only
not you're
cursing
rusty.
in front of my patrons, by the way. Nobody
Okay.
else is going to hear you curse. Free episode doesn't get the cursing.
Oh, that's right. Because when I listened to it again, it was like bleep bleep. I think you bleeped something that wasn't even a curse word. But anyways, I digress. Hey,
No, you
patrons.
said a pretty horrible word that we had to bleep out. It was pretty wild.
What? No,
My
I don't
editor
remember
texted me.
that.
He's like, I can't believe she said that. Did she mean it? And I was like, I think she did. And
No, you're
he was
lying.
like, he's like, I can edit out the whole conversation if you want. I was like, no, leave it in. People need to know who she is.
No. Oh,
People
I
need to
just
see her
elbowed my
truth.
desk.
Huh?
No, I hit my elbow on my desk. There's a level of clumsiness.
That bit caused you
Yes.
harm. Well, at least you didn't slice through your own finger.
I know, I know. Still proud of the fact that I did well with that avocado, but I only ate the half that didn't have the seed in it. So
Did you cut it the same way that you normally do?
I did, but I didn't remove the seed. So I didn't cut it in the way that would have mangled my hand.
I think I'm gonna have to come over at some point in time and show you how I get an avocado seed out, the pit out.
I just pop it out with my hands now, but my sister gave me an avocado seed removing tool for Christmas as kind of like a little gag gift. So
That's,
I'm like,
I mean,
thanks.
gag gift would have been if you hadn't already sliced your hand open. I think it's just a
Oh,
pragmatic gift at this point in time.
no, it's actually a functional tool that will save my blood and hands from blood should stay in the body. Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of sort of like weird kitchen tools, I didn't realize because my mom, in her infinite ways of trying to keep us afloat financially, she would do Tupperware. She would sell like have
Uh-huh.
Tupperware parties. And so one of the things that we always had was a citrus peeler. One of those, it's like a
Oh, yeah.
yellow stick with a little wedge on it that you would run down. I didn't realize that not every household had one of those. I think at the time
Is
it
it
was like
this?
a $2 tool or something like that. It
Let
has
me
like a little, it has a little
like for
sort of like
zesting?
rounded wedge. No, it's not a zester, it's a peeler. So it's basically a little stick. It's like a utensil.
I'm
And
looking at
okay,
pictures
so
now.
at the end it has like a little, there's like a point and then it kind of
Hmm.
wedges out and you just run the point down and it like separates the skin off of the, and then you can just
I
peel.
see that. I
It's
don't know what the
amazing.
F that.
I don't know why
Yeah,
I
I
don't
did.
have one right now because I have been I get a lot of citrus when I go to the farmer's market and I have been like lately, I don't know what it is. Maybe the citrus is like there's something going on, but like every time I'm peeling like a mandarin now or something, like I'm getting like orange peel spray all over all my shit. I'm like, what is happening?
That's the good stuff. Like natural perfume or something
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair, but also you don't love having that like
in your eye.
like on my pants. Like I just had to wash a pair of jeans like that I had just taken out of the wash because they got
Sorry, I'm
like the
laughing.
yellow all over it.
Oh yeah,
And it's just like one of those things. But man, I love a golden nugget mandarin. I love
I've got some of those. Yeah, I did not grow up with one of these, but I've seen them, and now I know exactly what that is. I was like looking at them online. Anyways, now I really want to get one.
I mean, it was like a like I'm genuinely shocked I don't have one now. Like I should get one. They can't be that
I can
It's
you
got to
do
be
a
like a
poll?
dollar 99 or something.
Can you? Yeah, I'm looking at them. I was like $300. That's for $300 for 250 of them.
I mean, you're
Um,
losing money at that point if you don't get that.
I know, right? Can you ask your listeners, do they do polls? Like, can you ask them how many have this like citrus peeler
Let me know in the
tool?
comments. Everybody, let me know
Yeah,
in the comments if you have or have had a citrus peeler.
let
Also,
me know. A melon baller, is that another one? I don't have one,
yeah,
but I know that's like a big kid tool to have.
I think melon ballers, I don't think we were bougie enough for a melon baller. We weren't getting balls of melon. We were getting slices of watermelon. Like we were getting
Yeah.
shit sliced. We weren't getting ball. My mom's like, get the hell out of here.
What about like cantaloupe? That's like a good balling thing. You don't like cantaloupe?
Ugh, it's my least favorite of the melons.
Oh man, I don't like honeydew so much. It tastes like strangely bitter to me,
Oh,
even though I know it's super sweet. I think it tastes like soap.
it's like the cilantro of melons for you.
Yeah, and I do like cilantro, and I know some people when they taste cilantro, it tastes like soap,
Yeah,
and other ones love it. I
that's
love it, but
genetic.
I hate honeydew for some reason, but I love cantaloupe and
Susan,
the watermelons.
if we're ever at a fruit salad party, you can have my
We'd be the
cantaloupe,
best pair.
and you can have
All
my
right,
cantaloupe, and I'll take your honeydew, and also I'll take your watermelon.
and you can take the red meat also.
I'll have the red meat.
If you,
Yeah, the burgers. And then the hot dogs probably won't have any red meat in them at all. Because,
even though you don't like, yeah, yeah, but I can't have pork. I wish I could. I usually eat like hot dogs for breakfast. Like I had the worst Midwest diet you can imagine. That was my breakfast in college. I'd like warm up a hot dog and then stick it in a bun, put on some ketchup, and then eat it while I was walking to class.
you'd
You
eat
look
just
disgusted.
also, you're from the Chicagoland area and you were putting
Oh yeah.
ketchup on a hot dog and nobody would say anything to you?
Well, I was in New York at the time, right? I was
Oh,
going to
okay.
school in New York. So no one cared that I wasn't adding. the pickles, the onions, the cheese, all the mustards, plural,
Jeez.
and all the other things that go bacon flakes on hot dogs. Who the F does that? We do. You should put as much as you can. Pieces of pineapple on your hot dogs. Yeah.
I do like a hot dog though.
Can I ask you a question? When was the
Yeah.
last time you had grape soda?
It's been a long time. Long, 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 long time.
Yeah.
Jeez, I had grape soda. It has to be at least 5 years ago.
Okay. So, because I'm drinking what? Orange, vanilla, sparkling water. I'm a sparkling water gal.
I'll say that
Um,
Waterloo's grape sparkling water tastes like grape soda without the sugar.
oh,
The
interesting. Okay.
aftertaste is grape soda. Yeah.
Is it gross?
No, I really like it actually. It definitely doesn't
Okay.
taste natural.
Just like anything watermelon flavored does definitely is not
Did you,
natural,
do you know
right?
why there's no grape ice cream?
No.
It's because the way grapes exist, they can't be converted into that, like the way the process of which you make ice
Consistency.
cream, like natural grape anything, it won't take,
Okay. So
which
it
is
doesn't
why,
mix. It's the
which is
wrong consistency.
yeah. So so if you were to ever get grape ice cream, it would be the most artificially flavored version, which is why you're really only getting it in things like I guess you'd say like in a popsicle form
Popsicles.
or something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, so that's why like you've never seen grape ice cream. And I mean,
I
maybe
I
somebody's
want to
innovated
try
something
it.
since, but how like somebody brought that up and I was like, wait, yeah, I haven't had grape ice cream.
Unless it's absolutely disgusting and nobody ever wanted to make it. Like after
I
they
mean,
tried it and they're
people
like,
eat disgusting
I
ice
don't know
creams
about
all the
this.
time. So like,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true. Well, the reason I brought up grape soda was I saw a meme today with a cat in a grape soda box, and I was like, that's cute. You know what I miss? Bubblegum pop, bubblegum soda. You know what I mean? Like it was grape soda and the bubblegum flavored, and
oh,
that God,
dude.
that must have had so much freaking sugar in it.
Hubba
Like
Bubba
hot
had a
dogs.
soda. Hubba
I
Bubba
was gonna
had
say
a
hot dogs and pop.
hot dogs. Do you call it pop or have you sort of shifted to soda or do you still call it pop? Are you still stuck in that?
I called it pop the first 18 years of my life. My both my Midwest accent and some of my, I don't know, I guess vocabulary changed when I went to school upstate New York, Ivy League university. A bunch of kids made fun of me for the way I talked, and I quickly dropped it. I trained myself to not say that or
Yeah.
California. Yeah, so bad. Yeah, but yeah, it's been.
Did you have a prevalent accent?
Oh yeah. Gosh, I remember the first like couple weeks I was talking to some friends and you were like, "Oh yeah, are you I meant to say, are you signing up for the talent show?" But I said talent show.
Signing up
And
for
they
the
were just
talent show,
giggle
yeah?
the talent show. And then at dinner I'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to get more salad." And then I would say things like, "Well, there's one word that I still screw up and it's calendar."
Oh
I
yeah, you
still
do.
yeah, it's there. There's like an invisible Y. When I say that, oh yeah, I got to mark my calendar. Calendar. There we go. But other than that, I've done a pretty good job just like letting it dissipate a little. But when I go back home, it definitely comes out. Or when I talk on the phone with my parents, and they're like, "Oh yeah, on Saturday we're gonna blah blah blah." I'm like, "What do?"
You're going on Saturday, yeah. I do say that like I don't have a regional dialect until I go home. And then it's like I describe it as being like a Furby. Like all of a sudden I'll bring my secret language out. But I do catch myself like I don't do it a lot, but I'll use wicked as an adverb a lot. Like I'll be like, "Oh man, yeah, that was just wicked hard." And I'm like,
Hard, like
wicked
wicked hard.
hard does not sound right. But wicked had. It's like
Sounds
wicked
way
fucking
better.
had, kid, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Being in Boston, but also being at university settings, like Boston is the most academic city in the country, maybe the world, right? There's just so many amazing universities there. So there's a lot of transplants for education or that are working at these education institutions.
And also a lot of
And
townies.
yeah, but I'd be like writing on the T, and then you hear the real Boston accent come out, or any phone call that had to deal with like customer service.
Customer
Just
service
kidding.
kid.
Customer service. I have no idea why I just said that. Like, anything had to do with customer service with the city, too. That would like, or calling like the eye doctor, something weird like that. But I remember after my first semester working at Boston University, and I came back home for Thanksgiving, and my I was home alone, and the dog, by home alone I mean my parents' home, the dog was barking at something. I was like, quit your barking. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I just, that Boston accent just freaking slipped out of me. And I've only been there a few months. What the F is going on? But I figured out that it was just temporary.
Yeah, you had a temporary affliction. You came down with a slight case of Boston,
I
which
did.
we've all
I
had.
recovered. Yeah, I did recover.
You
Full
recovered.
recovery. Recovered.
I
Yeah.
recovered. Yeah. Yeah, I always like the thing about Boston is, and you're right, like it's probably one of, if not the per capita smartest cities in the country, but also that sounds the dumbest.
What do you mean?
Like
Oh, just
our
with the
accent
accent?
is not, it's not an academic accent, like that. Even
I
if you
would
think of somebody
say
posh with that accent, you think of old money. You don't think of,
that's true.
you think of
Yeah.
like a Kennedy, somebody who got their money like bootlegging alcohol, and that's how they got rich.
Yeah, that's true. My parents told me a story when they came out for my commencement at Cornell University. They were sitting in front of some people with thick Boston accents. And they were like, "No," they were on the phone. They're like, "No, we're by the arch. Come meet us by the
I
arch,
mean, it's by
like
the
arch,
atch.
right? Like, yeah, and everyone says like park the car in the park and blah blah blah. But like my
Yeah.
parents said they tried hard not to laugh. I'm like, oh yeah, did you remind them it was Saturday?
Yeah.
Like
Their accent was so silly. We were trying so hard not to laugh.
now you're Irish. Well, you are Irish,
Right.
but
I'm not Irish at all.
you're not.
No. Everybody
Oh
assumes it
dang.
because of the pale and the red in the beard and everything like that. But
Yep, yep. Oh
English,
shoot.
Swedish, a lot of Europe, but Ireland is not in there at all.
Oh, well, you're too tall to be Irish. No offense to the Irish people out there.
I'm too tall to be anything. Like, like historically, I mean, I guess that might be the Swedish.
Yeah, probably. I think my height, no, my height comes from my Lithuanian side,
Yeah.
not my Swedish side. My Swedish side is short, actually.
I'm actually, but I will also say that my height is an incredible mutation.
Hmm.
It comes like if you're looking at the Punnett squares, ain't nobody 6'4" putting, my dad at his height was 5'11", like his highest was 5'11". My mom
Wow.
is
Okay.
5'4". My grandfather, maybe when he was young, would have touched 6 feet.
Where did you come from?
If I didn't look exactly like my father, but stretched out,
There
like
would have been questions.
I'm genetically, I got almost all May.
I gotcha. I look
Whereas my
could
mother, my brother got the majority of my mother's genetics. So like my
okay.
brother's 5'9" and I'm 6'4".
Okay. That's nuts. I mean, I look freakishly like my dad, which as a kid growing up, my sisters would like, yeah, you look just like dad. Ha ha ha. And I see it. I definitely see it, right? But my sisters look like my mom. And I do have my mom's nose, but everything else pretty much my dad. So
Wait,
kind
I
of
got my
funny.
mom's nose actually.
Is your mom Scandinavian? The Scandinavian one?
No, my mom's like French, Italian, bunch of things,
Okay. You have the French nose, I think. No,
Yeah.
everyone,
Or the
I
Roman.
have the weird little like
Oh, you got a
round
pretty little nose. Yeah, I got
button
a
on
big
my
old,
nose.
I got a beak. I got like a massive nose. And
Actually,
then,
it's a nice nose.
what's funny though is my mom gave me this nose and then she got hers done because she got in a
And
car
then you
accident.
broke yours.
She got in a car accident and like smashed her face into a steering wheel and it like did
Ouch.
something to like her, like basically her
The
maxillary
bridge,
bones,
right?
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even the nose, it was like this area, but what they fixed it, I guess, going through the nose or whatever was going on.
Hmm.
The doctor was like, "Do you want us to shave a little off?" My mom's like, and then I'm like, "You got rid of the evidence. You left me with this nose, and then you decided to just get rid of yours."
That's so funny because in some cultures the mom is like, "When are you getting your nose job?" Right? So I another here now I'm gonna bring up another ex, but this was like the long-term 8-year relationship ex from Colombia, and nose jobs are super common there. And some very Spanish people have bigger noses. Now my ex's his nose was fine, but his brother had his mom's nose, and his mom had gotten a nose job, and she would constantly like push his brother who was like 17, 18, like, are you getting your nose job soon? When are you getting your nose job? I'm like, that is so rude.
I don't know, man. There's
But
something
to
to be
them, it's
said
like
about like
normal.
that's what makes you unique, you know? I like don't
Yeah.
hate my nose. It's big. I don't hate it. I mean,
Mine has like, it has a little like bump, but then it like evens out into this little like button pointy nose at the end. That is 100% Scandinavian. Like everybody, literally on my Swedish side of the family, we all have the exact same
yeah,
nose.
you have like Disney nose.
Disney nose,
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
You
don't
look
know.
like you look like being frozen or something.
Oh, well, funny story that or about Frozen in Sweden. I actually have relatives that basically have every name of every character in that movie.
Oh, right, right. I
So it's
mean,
pretty,
why
yeah, it's a
not, right?
Kristoff, Elsa, Anna. I
Olaf.
don't know if we have I don't think we have an Olaf. That's the only one that we didn't have, but all the other names, it's like, yep, I have that relative, I have that relative.
I remember I picked my mom up from her procedure, and I was an adult at that point in time. I think I had to even like leave school early to go and drive her when I was a teacher. And one of the things that I was not prepared for is after that surgery, apparently you just swallow a ton of blood during the process. So in the car, she was just puking blood into this like bucket. And it was just all the stuff that had gone down into her stomach
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
being
she just swallowed
injected.
all the,
Yeah.
and it was like clotted blood probably by that
Yeah, it
point.
was very dark. The doctor was like, what was the doctor like then? Somebody was like, there's going to be blood vomited along the way. When it starts to happen, just pull over, let it go. And then if you're in a position where you can just throw it on some highway grass or something, like have at it. Like,
It's a crime scene.
I mean, a little bit, right? Like just leaving all that. You know
Yeah.
what's funny is how everyone's like, oh, that last episode had so much blood talk in it. And now we're just like, oh yeah, here's another really bloody thing.
Here's more blood. Yeah, vomiting blood. Now, I didn't have that problem with, I just remember this once she took the splints out after my follow-up. These splints must have been, so I have a tiny face, right? I have to use youth size small helmets. I have youth size small baseball caps. I have the tiniest head. When I go to the dentist, I have to use like the teenager size trays that go in your mouth to take impressions, right? Because the adult size ones don't fit. I just have a freaking small face and a small head, despite being tall. So and they had these splints up my nose that were like maybe let's see, 1, 2, at least 3 inches. I saved them, by the way. I still have them,
You did.
but they, God, it was like the just the sensation when they're pulling the stuff out of your nose. And it's like when you get water up your nose, but that reverse sensation. Some people faint. I got lightheaded, but I didn't actually faint. And it was just like, ooh, that was effing weird. I didn't have packing. I know
Yeah.
some people get the packing up the nose. It was the way they did the surgery, they must have controlled the bleeding, right? But this in this context, though, they did have splints going all the way up, and when they took them out, oh man, that was interesting. But they did have to stick like a suction-y thingy up my nose to get everything out, and the amount of snot that came out,
Oh, yeah.
like it was just
That's where
thick
it lives.
as F is, right? And it's good, right? Mucus is good because that stops, it catches things before they go into your lungs. You want mucus, but this was just phenomenal amount of mucus coming out of my nose, and I was like, there we go, that's lovely. There had been like one other time I saw mucus kind of like that when I used a neti pot for the first time, but I also had like a sinus infection, and the consistency of what came out was like rubber. It was like chewing gum. It was freaking crazy. Sorry to gross out your listeners.
No,
I
no, no.
feel like they like
They
this
deserve,
stuff.
they liked it. Yeah. We talk about neti pots last week? I can't use a neti pot because my nose if I go like that, it won't go clearly
It
through
won't
because
go
my septum
through
is so far off to the side.
because
So
you're broke. You're
yeah, so
broke. You're break.
I
You're
would need
brokenness.
I would need to use an Avage, something with the motor and the suction to actually be able to push it
Yeah.
through. I do wonder about that, like what that would do. I remember I had swine flu in like
Ugh.
2009. I had it
Yeah,
the
that's a
literally
rough
the
one.
most inconvenient time you could ever get swine flu. I was diagnosed basically with a week left of school,
Oh no.
and I legally could not go back to work no matter how I was feeling for 7 days. And
Oh
I
no.
came back to work on the second to last day of school. And I was so far behind. I was so bored. I felt pretty fine. The worst part about it, other than like the chills and fever in the beginning, was the swab because
Oh.
it feels like because they stick it way up
Oh
there,
yeah.
and it was like somebody put a lit match up my
Was this
nose.
before you broke your nose?
No, this was 2009, so it would have been like 8 years later.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, just an absolute nightmare. Speaking of things that aren't absolute nightmares, though, I don't know if you remember this from the last episode, but we got producers, including somebody that
Yeah,
actually
you
changed their
do.
name. Very happy about that. And so we will give a big shout out to Bobby Opulent. Would like to offer Jeff a nice brioche bun in this trying time.
Is
So
that a croissant? Croissant.
brioche bun? No, no, brioche buns are way worse than a croissant.
Croissant.
You know what
Croissant.
brioche is, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm just messing.
So
I'm trying to play
it's
along.
the worst. It's the worst. It's the
What goes on brioche buns? Is that's like pulled pork, right?
People
Which
put
I can't
burgers and
eat.
stuff on them, pulled pork. But
Okay.
the problem is like first off, the bun itself is like wet. It's like a slightly like greasy
It's
kind of
squishy. It's spongy,
yeah.
right? Okay, I'm
But
looking
also
at.
like
Oh, okay.
they're not made to hold anything that has like fat in it because like the bread dissolves. So like a
That's right.
hamburger or something, anything that has like that is juicy, if you put it on a brioche bun, it basically dissolves the bread.
I think that's what my mom would use for sloppy joes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
terrible idea. You need just like an
Sloppy
old-fashioned, like
joes.
hardcore dense hamburger bun. You know what would be good for sloppy
Anyways,
joes though is like a King's Hawaiian roll.
my mom makes a breakfast casserole out of those. Gosh, I sound like I'm a child. I'm in my late 30s. I guess I'm late 30s now. It's sad. I'm like, oh yeah, my mom makes this, my mom does that, my parents this and that. And I'm just like, I
Would
just
you be
go back
making
home
a
to visit.
breakfast casserole? Like you wouldn't be making that. Like
If I had visitors, I would. I love leftovers. Like I love cooking and baking a whole bunch and then I just like eat it for a while. I don't get sick of food, but I have a tendency to make a whole dozen cookies. Or like I'll see the thing is like recipes for cookie dough, it makes like 2 dozen. And sometimes I'll freeze some of it, sometimes not. Brownie batter, like you can't just do a little bit unless you do like brownie in a mug. So I have a tendency to make a dozen muffins, a whole cake when I just want a piece, but then I have some for like a week and then I
yeesh.
gain 2 pounds.
I mean, that happens. That happens.
Yeah, it does.
It's kind of why I avoid baking because I'm like, I don't need this power. I don't need to have this power in my life where I'm just like, if I want a cake, I can just make one. No, 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 no. If I want cake, it's got to be a problem for me to get it.
I don't do donuts for that reason because I have to pretend donuts do not exist because they're the most amazing thing on the planet. But
Me and you
I
went
make
to,
myself forget about them. Yeah, we did go to a
was
donut
it
place.
Randy's?
That was when I was living in Boston, I want to
Yeah, you
say. So
were
it
in
was like
town.
almost almost a decade ago. I think it must have been like 8 or 9 years ago when I came out to visit and we got some donuts. No, that was not the last time I had a donut. I can't remember when the last time it was that I did have a donut though.
Gotta
Because
make
they
sure.
those are not breakfast food. They are not breakfast food, but I don't know why they're
None of the
with
food that
breakfast labeled.
is no breakfast pastry is actually for breakfast. They just decide to serve them in the morning.
Oh, I see.
Like a
Well,
Danish is it's not it's not like remember in like commercials where they'd be like Captain Crunch, it's part of your balanced breakfast. And then they would show like eggs, juice, toast, like all the other things. And it's like I feel like this is not part of the balanced breakfast. I think it's just like a remainder. I think the balanced
That could
breakfast is
be.
all the other stuff that you have out here. But anyway, hey, patreon.com/Jeff May. You can sign up to produce this thing. And so, like our good friend Bobby Opulent would like to offer Jeff a nice brioche bun in this trying time, you can have me say your name in there, as well as somebody like Norm from Cheers. Norm, or Dan Hackroyd, or blacktulipmassage.com. I miss Julia. I'm going to
I
go.
remember those.
Yeah, well, it's only been 3 weeks. And of course, a big shout out to check out this month's Nerd with Dre and Jeff, where we have knocked our Impulse episode out. It is available everywhere. Listen up. A big shout out to watch me use these prehensile nipples to pick up pennies off the floor. Big shout out to the Oatmeal Savage. A big shout out to Call Me Sean or whatever. A big shout out to the Enchanted Wandering Unpierced Left Nipple. Only goes up to 11. Cider served at room temperature with just a pinch of cinnamon. I like cider. Cider is probably my go-to hot winter beverage.
If I'm gonna have something that's sweet, probably be hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate's the other one, but I've really pulled into cider a lot lately, like a hot apple cider. You know, if you go to like Descanso Gardens or something like that, or like a holiday event, you're just like, I need something warm because it's so cold in this 50-degree weather on Christmas.
Oh man, it was like -10 degrees a week ago in my hometown, by the way.
Yeah, I think it hit pretty close to that back home for me too.
Yeah, yeah. Not missing that. It's gonna be like 80 degrees here, what, tomorrow or Thursday? No,
83 today
Wednesday.
in the
Yeah.
valley. Yep. It was really nice. Yeah. What do they call this? Fool's Spring before second
Oh,
winter?
I don't know. I've heard of these, but I can't remember
Yeah.
the like maybe it's that.
It's sort of like, I
Something.
guess, what an Indian summer would be, but opposite end. And
Gotcha. Why
uh,
is it called an Indian summer?
I don't know why they call it an Indian summer. It's probably racist. I probably should look up the
Yeah,
nomenclature to that phrase before I go through with it, but also,
unless it's like referring to the country India, then it should be okay, right?
I'm going to be 100%
Like
honest.
Norwegian summer.
I'm going to assume that the phrase Indian summer is not based on the country of India. Not many
All right, I'm gonna
American
look that
things
up.
with the term Indian have to do with India. It's usually just misplaced ignorance.
Says the term may have originated in England. Some say it came from indigenous Americans gathering winter stores during this time. Okay, so yeah, it is not a nice term.
Yeah,
Darn. Okay, continue.
yeah. But to be fair, I know it's not a nice term, but like that's what they called them back then. They don't call it like savage summer. It's not like they. Well, I mean, they're because
That reminds me the Disney movie Pocahontas. I freaking loved it, but if you go back and watch it, it is so terrible. Like the song about, I don't even want to say it. I'm like, I was singing these songs as a kid and they're so inappropriate and offensive.
remember when
It's
Aladdin
really
came
bad.
out and they were
Hmm.
and like the Arabian Nights song started. And he's like, "Where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home." And then they were like, and then everybody of Muslim descent in general was just like, "Hey, what the fuck's up with that line?" And they had to change it. They
Oh my
changed
God.
it to like, it's something where the something is immense and the heat is intense or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know the new line, not the old line.
Yeah. Where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. Jesus. A big shout out to Funky J. Mousely comes out at night. Mousely. A big shout out to I'm going to start calling Yoda Old Grogu just to see what happens. Shout out to Sweet Keel. Shout out to the scene in Lost City where Brad Pitt dies. A shout out to Aldo Vargas is adding Jeff Has Cool Friends producer to his resume. Do it. Let me lie to your potential employers, please. I'll buff you up so good too. I'll be like, honestly, I've never had a producer that worked as hard as Aldo to make this stuff work. Like honestly, like real, like what were the jobs? I was like, I mean, producing it covers it all. Like I will nail it. Make sure that the financials are in order, make sure that the recordings are getting done on, and it's all just like technically not a lie. A good shout out to
Technically.
Burrito, my best friend. Shout out to Mr. Billy Beck. The To Be Terror Bunny thinks you should watch the Puss in Boots sequel. It's surprisingly good. Same thing with the Aladdin sequel, Return of Jafar.
And then there was another one too, King of Thieves.
That's the one where Robin Williams returned. Do you remember who the genie was in the second one?
Eddie Murphy. I don't know.
That would have been for a direct to video. Although, King of Thieves was direct to video too. It was actually Dan Castellaneta, also known as Homer Simpson.
Oh, I thought Eddie Murphy did something with Aladdin or Genie or something, but
He was
who freaking knows?
Shrek. Remember, he was Donkey.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
right.
a big shout out to Lemming Malloy, David Knife Boot Hinson, and Porcelain Jesus. I'm your own porcelain Jesus. Someone to sing your name. Someone who's lame. I don't know. Sorry. That's me changing the lyrics to Depeche Mode songs. That's going to be my thing from now on.
Okay, so I don't know why thinking about Eddie Murphy made me think about. I don't want to talk about conspiracy theories on here because I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but did you ever follow Sinbad movies as a
Are
kid?
you going to talk about the Shazam Kazam thing?
Yeah. Like, why does that drive me nuts? And it's like, I'm convinced that this was this, and then they're like, no, that was an alternative
I I,
dimension.
I
And
don't understand that because that's a Mandela effect, right? Like
yeah,
or Mandela effect, a Mandela effect because it has all these patterns.
maybe.
I've never
Mm.
understood that Mandela effect because I've always been like, yeah, it's Kazam with Shaq. It was awful.
No, there was one with Sinbad, I swear.
Yeah, you see, but no, there wasn't. But that must be your favorite conspiracy theory then.
No, it's not
What's
actually.
your
My
favorite
favorite
conspiracy?
one was about the Berenstain Bears.
That's another one, right? The EN
Yeah,
versus the AIN, EIN versus.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I used to rent
I'm like,
those
yeah, yeah,
videos
yeah.
at the library all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They did a lot of PSAs. There's a PSA where the two Berenstain Cubs almost get kidnapped and molested by a guy that was driving like a Rolls
Oh
Royce.
my.
Pulls up to him and
Oh,
goes,
I think I
"Hey
remember.
kids, want to go for a ride?"
Wait, what makes you think that they were going to be molested? Maybe just kidnapped.
Susan, Susan,
Jeffrey.
why would these young children be kidnapped exactly by a stranger?
Ransom money.
He was driving a Rolls Royce.
Oh,
Now we got the money, but that would have been very, very easy to figure that caper out.
okay. We're not going to go down this rabbit hole
I'm
or
just saying,
this
like,
route on
that's
your.
clearly what was going to happen. I mean, it's not, they're not going to say, like, don't get molested by a bear driving a Rolls Royce. But
Oh,
that's,
the directions our conversations take. That was like also just as much my fault. Yeah.
what do you mean fault? This is great. This is the good right
Shouldn't
here.
whatever.
Um, my favorite conspiracy theory, and it's my own conspiracy theory, but I think it holds weight, is that I think Warner Brothers did something physically to the kid that played Harry Potter so that he would not get too tall.
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe. You
Yeah.
think they stunted his growth somehow?
Put like saltpeter in his food or something like that. I don't know.
So they secretly drugged him,
Yeah.
gave him like hormones or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he is kind of small, isn't
Like
he?
5'5".
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
sorry,
size of a
Daniel Radcliffe.
permanent teenager.
Yeah, but that also, don't they like do that in other countries to female athletes that they want to stay like small and nimble, like for gymnastics or ice skating or something like that?
Maybe.
Yeah, shrugging. Jeff is shrugging right
Anyway,
now.
that's what I genuinely believe that they did that. I think I
Maybe they
said
had
that.
like recommended it to mom or something and been like, well, this will just help you get an extra few $1 million, extra like dozens of millions of dollars if we keep them slowed down in
Yeah.
that realm.
But that had to be something that they really had to look into. They were like, "How tall is dad?" Yeah, because like,
Yeah.
I mean, they clearly didn't give a shit about Ron Weasley. He became like 6'9",
Yeah.
or like to be fair, he's probably 5'9". He just towers over everybody else because
Well,
whatever.
I was gonna say his brothers, his screen brothers, the Phelps brothers that played Fred and what's the other George, Fred and George Weasley, the twins. They are actually twins, right? I met them at a green room at the Silicon Valley Comic Con where I was on a panel, and I didn't really know who they were at first. I was like, God, that guy looks familiar. Oh, that one too. Wait, they're brothers. Wait, they're twins. How do I know them? I'm like, the Weasley brothers. That was so cool.
Oh,
I
nice.
had a little fangirl moment. Yeah,
Did you talk to them?
I did. And I got a picture with them and I asked them about the scene where one of them, I don't know which one, gets his ear like cursed off of his head. And he was talking about how tasty the fake blood was.
Oh, it's
So
like all corn
that was
syrup,
nice.
right?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it was a light conversation about filming and I thought that was cool.
What
And
was the
then that was
panel?
it. My panel was about humans and the future of technology. I was talking about genomics. So I had spent a couple years doing genome sequencing at the University of Chicago, and I was familiar with human evolution in general, right? My PhD is in evolutionary biology. So it was kind of fun talking about like the way the world has changed compared to how to historically how our small like human communities were. Everything's just very, very different now compared to the way it was tens of thousands of years ago.
That's actually what my focus was on my bio minor.
Oh, really?
Was like
Human evolution,
evolutionary biology. Yeah.
like anthropology. That's so cool.
Diseases in mankind.
Guns, Germs, and Steel. That
Yes.
book.
And geez, what was the other? The Red Queen principle.
Hmm.
All the fun stuff. The like disease evolution, how our bodies have to run faster just to keep up, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
I always find that, yeah, that's
Hmm.
fascinating. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. So Silicon Valley Comic Con, that's the one that like Wozniak was like a big
Yeah. Oh,
investor
I
in,
met
right?
him. Yeah, I have a picture with him. I'll send it to you. He was there. He ran everything, and then he was the co-founder, not co-founder, co-owner of Apple or something like that.
Co-founder of Apple for a long time.
Co-founder, CEO. Okay. Well, forgive me. I don't know my
And I think
tech
he did
people
what
very
a lot of
well.
stuff with Atari, I want to say is
Oh, cool. There might say I loved the band Ataris. I saw them about a year and a half ago. Oh, so
I
anyways, I
I
digress.
almost used them as my song for my Instagram story today.
Which song? Boys of Summer? Don't say
Well,
Boys
I
of
was
Summer
looking
because
at it and I
that's
was
just
like,
a
what do I
cover.
do? And then it was like Boys of Summer. And then I was like, no, it's too early for that.
Nah.
But I was actually, the reason I thought that way is because I was looking up Atari Teenage Riot to see what
Oh,
Instagram offered, which is a very different band
yeah.
than the Ataris. But then the Ataris have a song called Teenage Riot. Um,
Oh, okay.
so I was like, oh, that's
Wait,
really
I wonder
fun.
which that must be on one of their older albums. Skies, Broken Hearts, Next 12 Exits, I want to say, maybe. I don't know. If your listeners know, if you know, you know. They, yeah. San Dimas High School Football Rules. That's one of their first big songs, by the way.
Which when I went to, with my ex Raquel, we used to go to the water park in San Dimas. And I used to like yell that every time we go. They have a great water park there.
I don't even know why the Tars have a song named after that because they are not from Southern California.
I mean, it's
But
just a
they,
Bill and Ted reference.
oh, see, now I suck as a human because I haven't seen Bill and Ted in a very, very, very long time. Is that
Does
the one
not
with
make you
Socrates?
suck.
Socrates, right?
So great.
He's in
So
that.
great.
Socrates. Yeah, they're in San Dimas, aren't they? Okay, so I have not seen that movie since like 1999 or 2000.
I used
So
it for,
I don't remember that.
I did it. I did a lesson with it with my pop culture course. We did some Bill and Ted stuff. That was really fun.
I'm putting that on my homework to watch. Do you have like a list of movie and TV show homework that your friends and siblings refer
Well,
you to?
aliens for one that my siblings tell me to. My siblings don't really talk to me. My
I'm making
brother.
the sad face.
No, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. And I have to watch Aliens too. Okay, these are from you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yes. And Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which I actually like a little bit more than Excellent Adventure. Hot take. I prefer the sequel. There's not a lot of comedy sequels that I think are superior to the original. It's like that and Wayne's World 2.
Okay. Did you used to watch that TV show Weird Science?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's great with Vanessa Angel as
I don't know why my brain just went to that direction. I think it used to be on TV after something I used to watch.
on the
Like,
USA Network. Yeah.
was it on USA? Maybe it was after
Was.
Baywatch then.
Could be. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think did Baywatch do. I mean, that show ended up getting syndicated as well. I remember, I think the guy who played Gary, the blonder mop toppy guy, I think that was like Jenny McCarthy's first husband.
Oh,
I don't know why I know that.
I don't know why you know that either.
Yeah, right. Like I gotta look that up.
Yeah.
Jenny McCarthy first.
Well, I used to do like the Friday night Sabrina the Teenage Witch, then Are You Afraid of the Dark, and then like Tales from the Crypt or something. No, Tales from the Crypt was USA, right?
Tales from the Crypt was HBO and Fox,
Oh, okay, Fox then.
I
Well,
believe.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Was that Disney? No, it couldn't have
No, that
been
was
Disney.
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh man, I remember so many of those episodes. That was a fun one. Yeah,
Yeah. So
those were the good old days.
he was a director, but he was also an actor. This guy's name was John Asher is his name. And he's an actor in, he was in a bunch, but I'm pretty sure he was in that Weird Science TV show in the 90s, right? It was like 94 or something like that. He was in Young Indiana Jones. He was in Duckman.
Oh,
Yeah, Weird Science. He played Gary Wallace.
there you go. Oh, how
See,
funny.
see, I know things. He was also in
I
Duckman.
know. I don't even know what that is. Okay. Oh, One Tree Hill. That's such like a girly. That was like Gossip Girl of early 2000s,
You want to know
probably.
something really funny? I
Funny.
loved One Tree Hill.
My sister got really into it, my younger sister, but I haven't really seen too much of it, so I can't really comment. But
Oh, it's not good.
I've seen every episode of Gossip Girl twice at least. Friday Night Lights, that was a big one that I had some friends that really liked too. I think that was like post One Tree Hill. And then I was too young for Dawson's Creek, so I never really got into that one. Never
I
saw
was,
90, never really watched 90210 either.
I think Dawson's Creek came out in what, 98?
Yeah, I was like 11 then,
Yeah.
and so I was still just playing with bugs. Like, like I don't know, but
I
I was
was
like not really watching like the tween stuff quite yet.
I was
But the Disney
16.
movies, yeah.
I was 16 and
Okay.
I loved Katie Holmes that time.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah, she's going on the locker. I think I took the
Oh, the
TV guide
locker.
cover of her and taped it inside my locker my senior year just for fun.
I don't think I had anything inside the door of my locker. I think, yeah, I did not. No, I didn't have, my locker was not decorated.
No.
Maybe it was just not that. My bedroom, yeah, I had. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yeah.
tell me, how did you decorate your bedroom? What was in there?
Well, first of all, my high school bedroom, the walls were painted sky blue with silver sponge design over it.
Okay.
So imagine that, early 2000s, right? I had, of course, I had the wall with like my beauty pageant stuff, my trophies, my ribbons from sports and academic stuff. And then I had my CDs and then some of my artwork on the walls. But I had, just before high school, though, I had like all the Backstreet Boys stuff. I want to try to go see them now that they're doing the residency in Vegas or the Sphere thing. I had this one long poster behind my door that I had at least as a kid, like growing up, that stayed there through middle school, where you mark on it where your how tall you get.
Oh.
And I had these posters of Jonathan Taylor Thomas next to it. And when I started learning how to draw hearts, like I would write JTT and draw a heart over it. But I did it over and over and over on this one
Oh, like a
poster where I was
psychopath.
measuring my, pretty much.
I love
It
that.
was just
I
like,
love
it's so funny because my friends say that he frequents a bar somewhere in like close to Silver Lake or something, or Glendale or something like that, that they would always go to. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to meet him. They're like, he does not look the same. You don't want to be disappointed. But I was like, I don't effing care. Like, honestly, I'm like, I have a crush on every single Lawrence brother. I don't freaking care. I think whether they're probably all married now or married then divorced then remarried or what have you, but it's like I had a crush on all these like actors, but JTT was probably my biggest like 90s crush,
Yeah.
right? And Nick Carter, of course, from the Backstreet Boys.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, not really. But anyways, so my room was the same for a while. My parents only finally took down everything from my room, my like high school stuff. And it was just mostly like sports pictures and then trophies and then a CD collection, ballet shoes, like point shoes hanging on the wall and
Yeah.
yeah,
Man, when I moved
regular
out,
stuff.
my mom's like, bye. She like, take all your shit. My mom took my move so personally. And I was like, Mom, I'm 22. She's like, you're leaving. Take it all. Bye.
Oh, my parents were like, "Oh, we know you have to go to college and we're gonna miss you." And they did not change my bedroom for almost 20 years. Can you believe that?
Wait, real quick though. Like, when did they? Because like my mom, I was 22 when I moved out. And that's when my mom.
I I moved out when I was 18. Well, because I went to college, right? But like I came back for the summers
Yeah,
and
I mean,
winter
I went to
break and all
college
that
too.
stuff.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that doesn't count.
Yeah.
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 When did
I
they
guess it
clear it out?
doesn't. Last year. A year,
Oh,
not
okay,
even a
yeah.
year
So that's
ago,
yeah, that's
like
pretty.
10 months ago. So we were talking like 19 years. 18 years
Yeah.
that it stayed exactly stuck in 2005 and it was glorious. And I still had my old little alarm clock and that was a cassette player alarm clock. So the alarm would go off and it was a cassette player.
If I
Anyways, I have no idea
could
how much time we have left. By
still have
the way,
2005, I mean, I guess we should probably start wrapping up. I mean, you know, we've been
do
at it for
people want
quite a.
another blood story though? I feel like we've literally just been shooting the shit. There just so everyone knows there was no context, no plan. We
There,
were just
no,
gonna
this was
talk.
actually the plan for this was actually to do a sequel to last episode because just everybody seemed to really, really like it and they find you very affable. And so very, very interesting. So, I mean, we can do a blood story on here or we can save it for the Patreon exclusive. It's up to you.
Let's see. Well, I guess we could save it for the Patreon exclusive. Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. If you folks who are listening for free want to hear another grisly, bloody story in the annals of Dr. Susan Finkbeiner history, head on over to patreon.com/JeffMay. That's JEFFMAY. And you can get early access to uncensored episodes with bonus content such as this as well. Susan, now on the last episode, I told people where they can find you for. You have at Think About It on Twitter. You are at Scientific Model on Instagram. What else?
It's those. I'm sorry. I mean, that's it.
Okay. Well, you can also hear a lot more stuff with me, like Tom and Jeff watch Batman on Gamefully Unemployed, all the stuff I do with Adam Todd Brown on the You Don't Even Like This Network, and of course, my trading card YouTube page at Jeff Has Cool Cards. On top of that, we're going to get going. Susan, say goodbye to the freeloaders again.
Hi, freeloaders. Enjoy your evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are when you listen to this.
We love you so much. Patrons, stick around. We got more coming your way. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, our artwork is created by Justin T. Brown, who can be found at Artness by Justin Brown on Instagram, as well as artnessbyjustinbrown.com. That dope music you heard is by Troy Nababon, available at Troy Nababon on Instagram, as well as at troynababon.com. Nababon is spelled Nababon.